much for being here. My name is Mickey Spear. I am a musician, author, and talk show host of our show tonight, The Healing Half. When I was 13, my mom passed away from cancer, and I spent the better part of a decade pretending I was fine, pretending I didn't need any help, and I'm not sure why people kept asking about it. But of course, as you know, when we experience immense grief like that, you have to go through it. So my life started to crumble all around me, and I realized I had to face this ugly monster called grief head on. And so I wanted to start a show now that I've gone through lots of counseling and lots of journaling and books and all that good stuff, so that way I can help other people learn more about grieving and how to lean into their own grief. And we don't just stop with our own grief. We want to teach others, how do we help other people in situations, terrible situations like grief that we don't understand. But not only do we talk about grief on this show, we also talk about other topics that are tough or more taboo. And that's what tonight's show is all about. We have the amazing Jennifer with us back again. And this time she's going to be sharing her wonderful brother, Howard, with us and his story and his life, and kind of ask some questions about what it was like to have a brother with Down syndrome and how people who, like us, who perhaps don't understand the situation, can help and be a better community member. So before we jump into Jennifer, I've got a quick couple of announcements for you guys. But first and foremost, how are you doing? Where are you calling in from? Make sure you let Jennifer and I know in the comments section that you are here and that you are calling in from somewhere. We love, love, love to go back through and to find all of your comments and read them. So keep us posted on any and all thoughts that you have. A couple of things to throw at you before anything else. If you don't have plans for June 5th, I've got plans for you on June 5th. Make sure you join me and the Resilient Movements for Grief Yoga. I promise you, it is going to be fun. It is going to be inviting. It is going to be just healing beyond what I can even fathom. I'm going to be playing some music. I will not be leading the yoga, and I will be a guest along with you. It is $35. It is on June 5th. It's a Zoom call, so anyone in the country can join. You can turn your Zoom camera off. Don't feel like you have to keep it on if you don't want to. But I think it's going to be so powerful. And part of the reason why I wanted to share this with you guys is my mission is to give you resources to not only lean into your own grief, but to help others with theirs. So copy that link, send it to a couple friends and say, hey, do you want to join me with this? And if money is tight, be on my email list, mickyspear.com. I'll send you the replay and all the notes for all of this stuff. There are scholarships available, and I want to help you get here because I so believe in this class. It's a one-day thing, less than 2 hours. I think you're absolutely going to love it. So without further ado, that's that one. So if you are joining us on the 5th, let us know in the comment section. I would love, love, love for you to let others know, hey, I'm going to this, and you can go from there. The last two things before we get to the amazing Jennifer is a couple things as far as Mickey Spear goes. So first and foremost, thank you all so much for all the Motherless Mother's Day cards that you bought. I was blown away, truly blown away by how many people resonated with the need to buy people, whether they're a motherless mom, like they lost a child, or they themselves lost a mom, or perhaps it's a husband whose wife passed away and they're like, you know what, I'm thinking of you on Mother's Day. And so I created a bunch of Fatherless Father's Day cards. There's baseball themed, fishing themed, boat themed. You just got to check them out for yourself. And again, they are not just for fatherless people. Like I'm a motherless person. They're not just for fatherless people. A lot of feedback that I got from my wonderful audience members was that they found that they gave it to fathers who, you can give it to fathers who are grieving and just saying, hey, I'm thinking of you today. You can give it to wives who've lost their husbands on Father's Day, and these are days that are hard for people, and you as a community member want to reach out and give love and energy. And if you need help with that, check out my Zazzle site. I've had way too much fun creating these cards, and I think you're really going to like them. So without further ado, let's head on over to the one and the only Jennifer, who is here to share with us her amazing story. So Jennifer, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show with me tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me back, Nikki. It's so good to be back with you again.
Oh, it is such a joy. And for anybody who is not able, who hasn't caught Jennifer's first episode, we had her on, oh gee, what month was that? It's been a couple months.
September? Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And we are having we are so grateful that you are back and sharing a different part of your life with us tonight. Now, we do have some tech problems tonight, so we've got Jennifer's audio coming more from my audio side. So hopefully you can hear it. She's got a lot of great things to say. And I think we'll just kind of kick it off with that. So Jennifer, if you don't mind just making sure I'm muted all the way on your end from your computer, and that just your phone, that would be great. And I'm going to pull up the wonderful photos that you sent me of your brother, Howard. Do you mind telling us a little bit about who is on the screen here? Thank you so much. People are my mic. Okay, sorry, Jennifer. Something is going up today. Can you still hear me, Jennifer?
I can hear you just fine through my phone.
Okay, give me 1 second, everybody. Let's see. We're going to try this one more time. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. It has been quite the tech day. So, Jennifer, I am so sorry to have to ask you to repeat it all one more time. I so apologize, everybody. Do you mind starting from the top? I think we can hear it now. So sorry.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. You can hear me. It was something on, the tech issues, right? Everybody, can you give us an amen in the comment section? Okay. So sorry. Jennifer, do you mind telling us who is on the screen with you?
No problem. I'm pictured there with my big brother, Howard. He was 18 months older than me. And that picture on the left, I was 3 years old and he was 5. And then on the right, that was taken probably 20 some years ago, with the big hair. You can tell it was a while ago. But it's one of my favorite pictures with him because he just has that look of love on his face.
No problem.
He just was such a loving brother. He didn't hold grudges towards people. He was always asking people how they were, offering a handshake. He passed away this last November, and at that time, I started sharing stories about his life on Facebook, and I got so many comments, and people said they were laughing and crying at the same time, and they said I should write a book. So I've started doing that, and I feel it's really important to share the stories of his life because he had so many lessons to teach us in the way that he lived his life, and to hopefully help people to take a step back and look at these people who are born with what is called special needs, but they're really special gifts that they're bringing to the world.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that, Jennifer. I see that photo, those photos, and my heart just melts. Like you said, they are stunning and they are perfect. And but like you said, there's a lot of misconceptions out there, and there's a lot of perhaps judgment, or and I'm not even sure. And so I can't wait for you to tell us a little bit more about. Again, you guys had a lot of loss as a family. I would love to perhaps maybe you can start with what it was like growing up with a brother with special gifts. And I love that you corrected me on that. That's a great thing to say. And kind of as a kid, what was it like to know that your brother was different from other people?
Well, like I said, I had a constant companion, constant playmate. And as I got older, I became more protective of him. I think all of our siblings there were 5 of us kids in the family. Okay. And one of his greatest joys was when he was about 13, he went to school in the neighboring town. He got to ride the school bus. And he would get off the bus and he would do the hokey pokey, and the kids would be laughing. And I thought, oh my gosh, they're laughing at him. Oh no. Oh. But it wasn't until much later I realized, no, he was entertaining them. That was his joy, to make them laugh. Oh. So, I had to realize, it took me a while to realize he came into this world to be Howard. He didn't come into this world to get straight A's or, travel the world and have a family. He came to be Howard, and he lived his life very well. He, like I said, he wasn't self-aware like we can be, and worry about what other people think. We were at a wedding reception. He'd go out there and dance. He wasn't waiting for somebody to dance with him. And at home, he loved his TV shows and he loved his music, and he played both at the same time. But he loved to sing. This was just a couple of years ago. I was visiting him at my mom's house, and I asked him if he wanted to go to church, because he loved to go to church and sing. And that morning in church, I really listened to what he was singing, because, sometimes he's saying the lyrics and sometimes he's saying his own. And he was singing, God bless Pop and Cookies, God bless Monday because I go to work. Oh. And it really struck me how he was blessing every single thing around him and being so grateful for it. And, what would happen if we were more like that,
That's beautiful, Howard. And I know you're wearing his shirt tonight, and we titled. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. He seemed just like full of life and full, like you said, of gratefulness and joy, and wore his heart on his sleeve. Was it always easy for him, or did he have some bullies or any tough childhood things that, as a sister, it was kind of hard to witness?
I can't say that I witnessed any bullying towards him, but what was hard is if we would go to an event and people wouldn't come up and talk to him. He would go up and talk to people and offer a handshake and say hello. But it's just like, come on, people, come to him. Yeah. We need to really pay attention and listen to those around us. There's people that are just waiting to be greeted. And like I said, he didn't carry grudges, but it was hard to see that when people wouldn't necessarily reach out to him, and that they didn't see all that he had to offer. But I guess that is the gift I had of being his sister, is that I could see up close and personal just the many gifts that he gave. Yeah. He loved music, and one of his favorite cassette tapes that he played over and over was Rick Astley. And over and over and over. Never going to give you up, never going to let you down. And just last fall, I happened to videotape him jamming to that song. And, when he was sick and in the hospital, I was so glad I had that. It was like, okay, remember that. It's really about the joy, finding the joy in life and singing and dancing. Life is short.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Well, I'm so glad you have that video. Like you said, unfortunately, he passed away, and that's what a beautiful thing that you get to hold on to. And I loved your point too about kind of remembering, like, when we go back, when we can go to public places again, really going out of our way to just be aware of who is not being greeted and who perhaps wants to be greeted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I can still hear you. I'm just going to put your video on the side while we talk a little bit. Is just some tech issues, but that's okay. So, Jennifer, can you kind of walk us through, again, you and your brother, you have such a special relationship. What do you think is perhaps the biggest misconception people had about a sibling with a special gift? Like, do you feel like people had some misconceptions about who Howard was and what your guys' relationship was?
I think it goes back to just not really realizing the value that they bring to relationships, and that I really believe that he was in my life to teach me. And it says in the Bible, "I knew you before you were in your mother's womb." So there was a plan for our lives. And it says we are created in God's image. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean some of us are created in God's image. It's all of us. So when we can look at somebody and see the divinity that God sparked in them, what a difference it makes. And, really just to approach others with the heart of love, like Howard did. He was always putting out his hand for a handshake, and we'd have company walk in the room and say, "Well, how's so-and-so? How are you doing?" And actually, a funny thing, when we were little kids, he couldn't say my name, Jennifer, very well. So it sounded like heifer. And which was funny because we lived on a farm. And then as we got older, he could say my name. And then probably 20 years ago, he just started calling me Babe. And he'd walk in the room, "How's Babe?" And then he'd walk back out, and it would crack me up every single time. "How's Babe?"
Oh, that is so amazing. I'm so sorry for your loss, Jennifer. To lose a big brother is so hard, especially with everything that you've already gone through. And I think this was on your first round when we unfortunately had to redo all of it. But we've had you on the show before, so I apologize, everyone, if this is repeat. But I don't think we caught it the second time. This is Jennifer's been on before. She's had a lot of losses kind of along her life. And so I don't want to tell your story, Jennifer. That's why you're here. You get to do that. So do you mind kind of talking to us about how, Howard's loss compounded with the other losses that you've had, and perhaps how, if there is any insight of losing him was different or gave you more insight to the losses you've had of the past?
It definitely was different. It's a different relationship. In our last interview, I mentioned that our father died when we were quite young. I was 7. And then my husband died right before our second anniversary, and our home had burned down. And, that night of the fire, I went to my mom's house, and I was sitting in the living room with Howard, and he just turned to me and said, "Are you going to rebuild?" And I said, "Do you think I should rebuild?" He goes, "Yeah, you do that." And I just, that really stuck with me. And, I feel like it was a message coming through him from the Holy Spirit, like, rebuild your life. Keep going, Jennifer, keep going. And he would have little gems like that would just pop up. And I was like, where'd that come from? Or like, I like to call him my interdimensional DJ. Like, I remember this one time, I was in my early 20s, and I was in the kitchen talking to my mom, kind of crying that I didn't have any money. And I heard his radio in the living room get really loud. And I heard, "Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more." It's like he always knew the right song to play.
Oh!
But like I said, with losing him, it's a different relationship, and it really made me stop and realize how he was a constant in my life. Being the youngest of all the siblings, my older siblings all went off to school or got married. And, even my mom took a job on the other side of the state for a while, but Howard was always there for me, always steady. And as children, I was the one that interpreted for him because I could understand his speech better than others because we were just together all the time. So we just had such a special bond. And, I do feel like in some ways, having gone through the grief of losing my husband, it gave me some tools to deal with it. But there's still the human part of me that has to go through that mourning period.
Yeah. Oh, I am so sorry. I keep saying that. I see the photos on the screen and my heart just breaks. And I think, like you mentioned, that constant, that is something that I don't think we talk about enough, as a culture, is just how hard it is to lose somebody. That's why age, even though, yes, it is so hard to lose a parent, as we both know when you're younger, it's also hard later in life to lose somebody who has been with you literally every day of your life into your 40s, into your 50s. And that's also really, really, really hard. So I'm so sorry that about your loss and for your whole family's loss. I mean, you guys have had a lot back to back, a lot going on. When you mentioned you were an interpreter for him, and you guys obviously were so very close, and he knew the right song to play at the right time. As far as insight for those of us who have not a lot of experience with Down syndrome or other things either, is there anything that we can do to perhaps love a family with someone like Howard in it better? Like, is there anything people could have done better for your mom or your dad? If you remember, I know that was when you were very young. I'm just thinking, I just feel like there's some stigmas that people say sometimes where it's like, oh, that's not the right thing. And I would love on the Healing Half to uncover those and make sure we never say them.
Well, thank you for asking. One thing I would ask that people never say is when they throw out the word retarded. That is, it's just hurtful. And some people think it doesn't mean anything, but it does. I mean, I remember when it was really a word that was thrown around a lot in pop culture, and it hurt my heart because, that was the term they used to use, was mentally retarded. And it's like, oh, you have no idea. You have no idea who this person is. And you don't see it as much, but that's one thing. And if there's something that they can do, like, my mom was a solo parent because we lost our dad, and it would have been great to see more people step up and say, hey, can I take Howard out to dinner? How about I take him to a basketball game? Or even for those who aren't solo parents, that is a big responsibility. And, I said to my mom after Howard died, I said, oh, Mom, that there was a lot of work sometime. And, I mean, he was 52 years old, and she still had to shave him and help with some of his physical needs and be there for him. And her response to me when I said, Mom, that's a lot of work, she said, oh, I would do it any day for someone I loved.
Oh my gosh.
And, it just, to witness that kind of love is such a blessing.
Wow.
And, in sharing the stories of Howard on Facebook, it was really beautiful to see the responses people had. And so many people said, I had an aunt who had Down syndrome, and I remember she used to take a lot of showers too. Or, somebody else said, we have a little boy, and, we loved hearing your stories. So, it's just, there's many blessings to be found.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And I love that reminder, especially, and I know you can't speak, none of us can speak for anyone else's on their grief journey or any other journeys, but that, Howard lost his dad. And like, that's hard. And it would have been, I'm sure, nice for any kid who, to have other figures come in. But I'm sure especially Howard could have used that. And your mom could have used that. And I think that's such good insight for us to remember that, yes, your mom and Howard had such a special, beautiful relationship, and it was a lot of work. So for us as a community, thinking like, how can I take things off of people's plates is always a really good thing to just double back on and re-go through our notes a little bit and be like, am I helping the people in my life who kind of have these obligations, which are blessings and they are not to be dismissed? So thank you for that wonderful reminder, Jennifer. That's so beautiful.
Yes, thank you for asking. I appreciate that, Mickey. I appreciate you bringing that to light.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I know shred the word. A lot of people in the comments are saying, yeah, we need to just never say that word ever again. But I remember being in grade school when the word retarded was so synonymous with stupid. It's like, oh, you're this, and I don't even want to say it because like that's how cringy it is. So I'm sure knowing somebody as love, like the love that you had with Howard, that must have been just so terrible. So thank you once again for the reminder. Hopefully by now it's gone, but I hear it every once in a while. So thank you again for shedding that light on that terrible, terrible insult that people don't even think when they say it.
Mm-hmm.
And as we wrap up our time together, I know we're kind of coming to the end, and I've got an announcement for everybody about my upcoming song. But I would love for people to know what you do and why someone would want to get in touch with you, because I could talk about you all day, but I'll let you pitch yourself.
Oh, thanks, Nikki. I am, well, since the time of my husband's death, I realized it was time for me to start using the gifts that God had given me, and one of those is public speaking. So I really appreciate this opportunity to share the stories about Howard and his love for life. So I do public speaking. I am a writer, and I have about 3 books in the process right now. One about my experience with my husband in the fire, and then another one telling more of Howard's stories.
Oh.
And then I also do one-on-one mentoring. I work with people in discovering that connection with their intuition, with their dreams, and helping them really connect in closer to the plan and the purpose that God has laid on their heart.
Oh my gosh. I think the world of you. Everybody give Jennifer a big thank you in the comment section. And if you would like to get in touch with her, please know we've got her Instagram link in the comments, where I always do this, wherever that is for you. And I will make sure that is sent out in her follow-up email, as well as if you would like her direct email, just let me know and I can connect you too. So Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing your insight today. I know I learned so much. These pictures are so beautiful. And I, again, am so sorry for your loss.
Thank you, Mickey. It's always a joy to speak with you. You bring so much light to the world. And I really appreciate your show and what you're doing to help people heal.
Oh, thanks so much, Jennifer. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Well, you guys, what did you think of that? I am so blown away by Jennifer's beauty with her words. She's so elegantly spoken, and her stories of Howard were such a good reminder for us to kind of pause and kind of rethink some biases and some things that we all have and all carry with us, and how can we love people better. And that's the whole point of the show, right? So thank you, Jennifer. Please reach out to her, connect with her. She is just so lucky. I'm so lucky to have Jennifer in my life. And I bet we're going to have her back on the show, especially when she's got those books to release. So the last little thing, you guys, is if you were on my show last week, you might have heard I've got a new song coming out called My Heart Still Remembers, which, yes, that might sound a little familiar to you because it's the same title as our workbook. And that is going to drop next Tuesday. I was like, you know what? Let's just do it the day of the show. So next Tuesday, I will be kind of going more into the song a little bit, but it will be live. You will have been able to hear it before the show. But if you are interested, you can actually pre-save that song now. So that's more of a Spotify thing. So if you're on Spotify, just know you can pre-save that now. The link is in the comment section. They'll also be in my follow-up email. But I am so excited for you guys to hear the song in its entirety. The acoustic version was last week. And if you like it and you think it's going to be beneficial for you, please don't forget to send it with a friend. Again, it's tied to this workbook. And I actually filmed a music video with it. My sister and I did, and we went to my mom's gravesite to film a lot of the scenes. And it was really, really hard. It was hard. It's always hard for me to go back there, but it was also so good. And it just reminded me, you guys, one more reminder of why we are all here together. Loss sucks and it's hard and we need each other. We need each other so keep sharing your stories. Keep, leaning into your own grief. If you have somebody in your life who is hurting, keep sending them to mickyspear.com. Sign up for that email list. And just know from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful for you. And I will see you and my new song next week. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Have a great rest of your night.